Hi, it's Jane. I have two finished items. Well, one really finished item, one sort of finished item. And because I have a couple more hats to do, I've put the ball stitching on 3 of these hats so that they're ready to go for the Little Leagues parade. They have a parade in Williamsport on the, I want to say the 13th, Tuesday the 13th. And they want the hats there because they're doing photo shoots, those kind of things. And then they'll also start giving them out to the babies. Luckily, this year, some of the staff also are crocheting some hats, so I don't have to do a whole lot of hats. I'm just doing a couple of hats. I have also decided that instead of doing that actual stitching on them, that what I am actually going to do for the next couple of them is to use magic marker or fabric marker, red ink, to put that on there so I don't have to worry about those stitches. I mean, because they're small, little baby fingers sometimes get caught in those kind of things. So I am going to do that so that I don't have to worry about fingers getting stuck in them. The other finished object that I have is that blanket that I had started. It is finished. I did finish it with you guys watching, so that was a lot of fun to do. And started out with the moss stitch in the round. Then I moved on to the lace stitch here in this section. And then I did a couple of rows. I did a half double crochet row. Then I did a row of half double crochet on one side. But on one edge, because I wanted it to be a little longer, I did that half double crochet, a double crochet, and then 2 rows of granny stitch, or the 3 clusters, peas in a pod, whatever you call it. And then I did about 5 rows of the double crochet on opposite ends. And then I did a round of granny stitch in the green, 1 in the white. Well, it's that gentle white. And then I did a shell stitch for it around so that that blanket is finished and ready to go to its next recipient. I have not done anything else on the, what did I do? I guess I did do it Saturday. You know, I did the rows there that they had done on section, that honeycomb right there. I did that. And that one was a little different because you were using a different type of reverse stitch. And I could see Arnie had talked about that when you start using that, it's faster than the normal purl stitch that you do by doing that reverse stitch. And I agree. It did. You got into a rhythm, and it got a lot faster to use that. So I've gotten to that point on that one. I think it's section 8. Maybe it's section 7. I get lost. And then I have been working on this circular shawl. So I've just been, gotten it down to there. We're trying to decide if we were just going to make it a small one. Because there are a lot of small women in nursing homes. And I did decide I'm going to make it, more or less a medium side. I discussed that with my friend Jerry, and we both, medium size. Done some big ones. And I know this Tunisian crochet shawl is most likely going to be a much bigger shawl. It is a sampler, and I do enjoy doing it. So, yeah, that is where I'm at there. thought I would show you the pattern that I'm doing for the with the blues and the off-white that I had chosen. It is called It's Simply Stripes. Says it's quick to stitch. Came out of the book Country Afghans. I think that's a Oxmoor House production, if I remember correctly. Of course, I didn't get it in color, but I hope you can see there. And the way that they describe it is inspired by the fertile fields of Provence. These scalloped stripes mimic the waves of fragrant lavender on a breezy afternoon. And it says, choose 3 muted shades of Red Heart Super Saver knitting worsted weight yarn. I'm going to use more than 3 colors because I'm going to use those blues. I think there are 3 blues, maybe 4 blues in there. And then I'm also going to use the off-white. And then I will do the border most likely in that off-white, gentle white. I keep calling it off-white. It's called gentle white. But I will do the border in gentle white as well. So those are my plans so far. I think that's about it. I moved a lot of the yarn that I had packed up and stored in the craft room into the garage, and I'll post a picture here. And I had just watched Cheryl of Vixen Purple's Crochet, and she had talked about hoarding tendencies, mental health issues, and those are things that are very important to look at. And that generally when we hoard things, it's because we are looking to fill a void, fill something in our life that we need or we're missing, or sometimes it is used to avoid something. And I had stated there that I would tell a little bit of my story with the yarn. And I do know that I am a hoarder. That is why I am trying to stop purchasing yarns and use the yarns that I have. When I was 14, I was raped by 4 young men that I thought were friends of mine. And throughout the years, I carried a lot of shame. And so I was avoiding healing and dealing with that shame. So one of the things that I did was that I cultivated yarn and crafts. And it's a slow process to heal. I do know that at a simple, any moment that I can slip back into that and feel that I need to have the yarn. Yeah. So anyway, I am in a healing process. I won't say that I'm completely healed. I will say that I am mostly healed. I still do every once in a while feel some of that shame, but when I do, as you know, I'm a Christian. I turn that over to God, and I feel some relief from that. And, you know, right now, since I'm cutting bamboo, I can take a lot of aggression out on the bamboo. So there you have it. That is basically that in a nutshell. I will be going through some more totes. I have more totes in the room behind me here. And I don't know if we'll go through the totes in the garage. Just because I would have to bring in a lot of those totes. So I don't know that I will do that. And yes, I have a buttload of yarn. And, the funny thing is, as much as I thought it was filling a void because I love yarn, at the same time, there's a little bit of shame that's still attached to having so much yarn. It's like shameful because I have way too much yarn. People don't understand that, but it is an issue that I do have. So, yeah, there's that. All right, are you ready for a little what in Tarnation? Here we go. Boba Fett. Rare prototype Star Wars Boba Fett action figure from 1979 up for auction. An extremely rare prototype 1979 Star Wars Boba Fett action figure described as the holy grail of collecting is up for auction. Auction House Golden said the Kenner 1979 J slot version 2 rocket-firing mailer prototype Boba Fett, one of only 30 ever produced, is the highest graded example of 3 known to still exist and is the first to be put up for auction. The toy was made as a prototype in 1979, but never made it to market due to the risk of injury to children from its firing rocket. A similar Boba Fett figure became the most expensive vintage toy in the world when it was auctioned for $525,000 in June. That figure was one of 70 prototypes made with an L-slot firing mechanism. The Boba Fett being offered from Golden is the first J slot to ever make it to auction, the auction house said. This item is looked at as one of the most important in the hobby, said Ken Golden, founder and CEO of Golden. This is the first time a mailer J slot V2 missile example has come up for auction, making this a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to own this iconic piece of Star Wars franchise. The listing refers to the toy as the holy grail of Star Wars toys, comparable to the T-206 Honus Wagner and the 1952 Topps number 311 Mickey Mantle in Prestige and Demand. And when I looked last, about 4 hours ago, it was up to $400,000 in bids. There were 10 bids. So, get your bid in. Be interesting to see what the final cost for that one is. Iowa man harvests massive 8.33 pound eggplant, and it's big. A giant vegetable enthusiast from Iowa broke a world record when he harvested an eggplant weighing in at a staggering 8.33 pounds. David Bennett from Davis County had his eggplant examined by Inspector Ivan Hankins of the Iowa Department of Agriculture and Land Stewardship's Iowa Measures and Weights Bureau. Hankins confirmed the 8.33 pound eggplant is the largest in the world. I've been growing eggplants for probably 5 years now, he told Radio Iowa. 2 years ago, I set the state record at 5.6 pounds. He said Guinness World Records has been in contact to tell him how his application for the record was approved. The previous record of 7.21 pounds was grown in England in 2022. Eventually, I will have a plaque that says I grew the world's largest eggplant. And I did not know airlines actually serve this on planes. Airline nixes instant noodles due to turbulence-related burn risk. Korean Air announced it will discontinue service of ramen instant noodles to economy class passengers due to the risk of burn accidents during turbulence. The airline announced that the cups of instant noodles will no longer be available in economy class on long-haul flights starting August the 15th. In the case of ramen service, and actually they spell it ramyeon, service, burn accidents occur frequently due to hot water, a Korean air press release stated. In economy class, flight attendants must move several cups of noodles filled with hot water at once, and passengers are crowded together, so the risk of burns has been high. The company blamed the increasing trend of turbulence for the dangers, noting that there were twice as many turbulence reports in the first quarter of 2024 as there were in the same period of 2019. Ramen noodles will still remain available in prestige and first-class cabins as they are less crowded, the airline said. The noodles will be replaced in economy class with a number of snack options, including sandwiches, pizza, corn dogs, and hot pockets. 15 goats flee work site scatter in Massachusetts town. A group of 15 goats employed to remove poison ivy and brush from a Massachusetts property were chased away by dogs and ended up scattering throughout the town of Linfield. Goats to Go, a Georgetown-based goat landscaping business, said the herd was clearing the unwanted plants from a property on Blue Jay Road on Tuesday when the goats scattered, likely a result of a confrontation with local dogs. Goats are herd animals, so they all stay together. Goats to Go co-owner Michelle Olson told Boston.com. We know they were chased because they were in 3 different groups, not all together. The Linwood Police Department said 5 of the hoofed fugitives were spotted on Tedford Lane, and an officer was able to establish himself as the alpha and lead the goats to safety. These goats are really friendly, so they walked back to the locations with the police officers, and they were able to contain them. Another 8 goats were rounded up and returned to the farm Wednesday morning, leaving only 2 animals named Happy and Finny on the lam. Happy was captured later in the day. Just as we were losing hope of catching the last goat before dark, a neighbor drove into our driveway and our garage at the exact moment our goat, Finny, rounded from the backyard to the front. Goats to Go said in a Facebook post. The garage door closed at the perfect time, capturing him inside. All 15 goats were safely returned to the farm. The end thing here is that we're all happy about is it's just the safety and health of the goats. What animals love to do is eat vegetation and enjoy life. So our goats will continue to do that and provide a natural way of getting rid of poison ivy. Which that's great. Now I know you've seen this video, and if you haven't, there's a chance to see it. Massive dragonfly swarms descend on Rhode Island beach. Visitors to a Rhode Island beach found their peaceful day interrupted when massive swarms of dragonflies came in from the water. Beachgoers at Misquamicut Beach in Westerly captured video of the moment when hundreds of thousands dragonflies suddenly appeared. Mark Stickney, who posted footage of the swarm to Facebook, told WBC-TV he started seeing dragonflies everywhere right after he arrived at 11 a.m. Visitors said the dragonflies arrived in waves, with the largest swarm making landfall at about 1 p.m. Dragonfly expert Ginger Brown said the insects normally migrate between the middle of August and mid-September, but they have been known to travel en masse when their bog and swamp habitats dry up. It is entirely possible that's what we're seeing now, she said. They can travel long distances with relative ease. I wonder how this tank fell off. But it did. Tank falls off flatbed trailer on Texas highway. Traffic was delayed on a Texas highway when a flatbed trailer lost its unusual load, a military tank. The tank, believed to be an M109 howitzer, fell from the flatbed truck about 4 p.m. Sunday on Interstate 10 near the Warsback exit in San Antonio. Towing business Mission Records San Antonio was called in to lead the recovery efforts, and officials said they've been in touch with Joint Base San Antonio Camp Bullis. The tank was not being transported as a part of a military convoy, and no uniformed military personnel were spotted on the scene. The roadway was cleared by 8 p.m. All right. Headless woman on New Zealand beach was a life-size doll. A New Zealand woman found what appeared to be a headless corpse on the beach, but was relieved when police determined it was actually a life-sized adult toy. Alice Cowdery said she and her dog Sadie were walking on Tupac Beach, south of New Plymouth in Taranaki region, when the canine led her to something washed up in the sand. I just sort of froze and felt sick, she told Radio New Zealand. I could see it was definitely the shape of a torso, face down, and I could tell it was a woman's figure. I could see it had fingernails and the toes were really realistic, so it really looked like a human figure. Cowdery called police and 3 officers responded. And then I sort of saw one of the cops nudge it with his foot, and I thought, he's not going to nudge it if it's a body, Cowdery said. She saw the identity of the object become clear once it was flipped over. You could tell it was a sex doll, she said. She said the dummy was so heavy that it required all 3 officers to drag it back to a patrol vehicle. Police in Malaysia responded to a similar situation in 2022, when a reported body found behind a motorcycle shop turned out to be a discarded mannequin. Other incidents involving mannequins and sex dolls have been reported in California, Ohio, and the Netherlands. And there you have it. What in tarnation? Sometimes you just go, what? What on earth? All right. Let me get the devotional and we'll get to reading it. I can find it. Oh, no, it's in here. I saw it earlier. And there it is. This comes from Promises from God's Heart. And this is a Day Spring devotional. And I'm sure that I got it at Ollie's. Promises from God's Heart for His Power. You will receive power when the Holy Spirit has come on you. Acts 1:8. Ascribe power to God. His majesty is over Israel. His power among the clouds. God, you are an awe-inspiring in your sanctuaries. The God of Israel gives power and strength to His people. May God be praised. Psalm 68:34-35. Fan into the flame the gift of God, which is in you through the laying on of my hands. For the Spirit God gave us does not make us timid, but gives us power, love, and self-discipline. 1 Timothy 1:6-7. His divine power has given us everything required for life and godliness through the knowledge of Him who called us by His own glory and goodness. 2 Peter 1:3. Now I know that the Lord saves His anointed one. God answers his anointed one from his heavenly sanctuary, answering with mighty acts of salvation achieved by his strong hand. Psalm 26. He gives strength to the weary and strengthens the powerless. Isaiah 40:29. Is that 29? Looks like 29. Might be 20. It's in black. It's hard to see. For the kingdom of God is not a matter of talk, but of power. 1 Corinthians 4:20. For who is God besides Yahweh? And who is a rock? Only our God. God, he clothes me with strength, and makes my way perfect. He makes my feet like the feet of a deer, and sets me securely on the heights. Psalm 18:31-33. And that is it. The other thing I would say is pray for the people in Venezuela. With the Venezuelan election, Maduro, of course, won, but the people are revolting. And I saw where earlier today Maduro had his military just outright shooting and killing those protesters. The people are tired of the dictatorship, so they're rising up. So let's pray for those people and hope that they continue to stand strong and fight for their own freedom. We're lucky here in the U.S. We have freedom. Very lucky. All right, that is it for today. As always, be blessed. Get out there and see this big, beautiful world we live in, and I'll see you again next week. Bye.